right, let's do it. How we doing on a Wednesday? It's time for a little matinee edition of Flames Nation Live. Steinberg with you, Jeffrey and Sasha first in. Thank you very much for being with us, and let's get at it. We're coming at you, Zach, in as well. We're coming at you from the home studio as per usual. It's Pat Steinberg with you from Sportsnet 960 The Fan. Pat Steinberg with you from Flames Talk, wherever you get your podcasts. And, hey, how about that start to the season for the Calgary Flames? Just the 3-0-0 start for the first time since 2009, and a 3-0 start that I think you have to be pretty impressed with, all things considered. Comments, questions, all of it. Let's get it in. Let's talk, and let's get after it on Flames Nation Live, brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. And right now, we're still running the promo. We are still running the promo code where you use that promo code FNLiveDD, and by doing that, you're getting yourself 25% off your first order and free delivery. So use that promo code after you download the app and create the account. One more time, that promo code FNLiveDD, as DoorDash brings you Flames Nation Live each and every time. So from a Flames standpoint, I don't know if you can be a whole lot happier than you are right now, because this is the best start they've had in 13 years. And I know that nothing is perfect, and the head coach and the coaching staff will be the first to say that nothing is perfect. But at 3-0-0 and the teams they've played and the different ways they've won games, I'm judging it more on a sliding scale. And on that sliding scale, I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen from the Flames so far. In fact, really impressed with what I've seen from them so far. Like, if it's me, I'm saying that this is a really, like, I'm giving them really high grades. I don't know. I'm giving them an A for their first 3 games of the season. Again, sliding scale. The marking gets more difficult as the year goes along. But, Tuesday's win over Vegas was really impressive to me. And I know that the Flames aren't happy about the way that they started the game. They're not happy with the first 20 minutes of that game, and I get that. And again, as a coaching staff, you're holding the team to a little bit of a different standard than you or I are holding the team to from the outside. So they're definitely looking at this, and the Flames coaching staff is not going to love the first 20 minutes, but they're going to like the way they fought back. They're going to like the way that they got back to their game, or got to their game as the game went along. But I liked a lot of what I saw against Vegas. After the bad start, after the bad Markstrom goal, I thought that Calgary really figured out their game. And from that point forward, I thought that, they kind of took it to the Golden Knights after falling down 2-0. And you're not going to have a perfect night every single night. You're not going to be on your game for 60 every single night, as much as that is the standard, and that as much as that is the ask from the coaching staff. It's just, from the outside, it's not really all that realistic. So you had the Kadri line help turn the game. You had the Lucic line with Ritchie and Rooney start to turn the game. By the way, if you weren't a Ritchie fan before, are you starting to come around? Are you starting to come around to where I've been? I've been kind of pounding that Brett Ritchie drum for a little while now. Are you starting to come around to Brett Ritchie's a pretty effective player on this team? Because he sure was on Tuesday. How about the 3 consecutive drawn penalties in the second period? 6 straight drawn penalties from the Flames in the second period on Tuesday night. So, again, second periods weren't great against Colorado and Edmonton. First period, not great against Vegas. But of the 9 periods they've played and the 3 regulation wins they've picked up so far, I would suggest that, 6 of the 9 have been pretty good? And early in the season, with so many new faces, I think you'll take that. If you're the Flames, I think that you, on the outside, can be pretty happy about the fact that 6 of the 9 periods to start the season have been pretty strong. But that's just me. Here's what I can tell you about the way things looked at practice on Wednesday morning. 10:30 practice at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Really no changes. The only thing that's interesting is that Noah Hanifin, who played on Tuesday against Vegas, did not practice once again. I don't know if we're talking about him being ill or what's going on, but Noah Hanifin at practice once again. And what really got my spidey senses tingling a little bit more was, if you see there on the second pairing with Anderson on the right, they had Zadorov in with Anderson and Mackey with Stone. Usually, if it's just a maintenance day or something like that, most of the time you'll see a guy like Mackey slot right in for Hannafin as a placeholder. Well, this time they altered the pairings, put Zadorov with Anderson and Mackey with Stone. So that definitely has me interested going into morning skate on Thursday for the game against Buffalo. We may not know, though, until warm-up on Thursday night whether or not Hannafin's good to go or not. And who knows? I mean, it could be nothing. Again, he didn't practice on Monday, played on Tuesday, doesn't practice on Wednesday. So there's nothing suggesting, like there's nothing saying that it could still just be maintenance or something like that. But that was a little interesting to me, just knowing the pairings were a little altered. Usually placeholder as opposed to the pairings getting completely altered. But sometimes you read too much into that stuff anyway. So we'll keep an eye on that going into Thursday's game against Buffalo as the Flames look to go to 4-0 on the season. The last time they went to 4-0 was also the last time they were 3-0. The 09-10 season, they started 4-4 that season before they're sustaining their first loss in Game 5 of that season. We'll see if the Flames can go 4-0 to start the year this year. Of course, Buffalo did everybody a favor by beating the Oilers on Tuesday. I don't think anybody was too sad about that. That was rather nice to see. Let's dive in on the comments on our live chat, and you've got lots of time to get them in. We've got Tammy, who has jumped in with us. Dallas is in, and Mark as well. Jeffrey with the first question. Is there anyone out there that can improve on Lewis on the third line? Although, man, this team is rolling at 5-on-5 with a dynamic power play to boot. Here's what I'll say about Lewis, Jeff. I haven't minded Trevor Lewis in the slightest so far on that line, because the role of that line has been to be a very effective kind of shutdown trio, even though they were out there and scored the game winner on Tuesday night. Like, that role is as much to be in on the attack as it is to be really, really solid defensively. And right now, with Lewis possessing a right shot, I don't mind him on that line. The way Backlund and Coleman play together, I think a guy like Lewis riding shotgun on the right side is just fine. And that trio in the 3 games this team has played has been very quietly solid and effective. Maybe not as emphatic as the Kadri line is. I know that everybody's buzzing about the Kadri line right now, and for good reason. But I also think that Backlund line, as the Huberdeau line starts to take shape and starts to figure out, exactly how to play best together, those middle 2 lines have been really good, and obviously the Rooney line with Lucic and Ritchie has been dynamite. So the other 3 lines have played really well, and I would put into that conversation the Backlund line with Coleman and Lewis. They have been very steady, reliable, and effective so far. And again, just a really good steady shift. Hard work won battles, and it led to the game-winning goal with less than 5 minutes to go. So I personally, Jeffrey, I'm not looking to take Lewis off that line right now. I think he's been just fine. I know that he's not the sexiest name, and I know he's maybe not going to pop the same type of offense as other guys could, but in the time being, I don't know if there's a better option. And, the way that Ritchie, Rooney, and Lucic are playing together, don't know if you want to be breaking them up. The way Kadri, Dubé, and Mangiapane are playing together, don't know if you want to break them up. So I'm all for keeping the same lines and keeping them together as it stands right now. What else we got here? Jesse with us, who's living in Edmonton and in Oiler country. Well, it's good to be a Flames fan in Oiler country right now. I like a lot of what the line combinations have done to this point. Terrence suggesting Jonathan Taves with percentage of salary retained to play on that line. Look, if you want to start talking about names that the Flames can go acquire, I mean, if you really want to get into that conversation, let's talk Patrick Kane, because that would be the sexy one, right? And I'm not suggesting that it's going to happen or anything like that, but and I'm not even 100% sure that Kane is going to end up leaving Chicago. Maybe he doesn't. As I was talking to somebody today, in hockey today, and a really good point, that, Kane's won his 3 cups. And if he had not won a cup, maybe going to chase a cup with one of the teams that is deemed like Calgary to have a very good chance at going deep in the playoffs, maybe. But because he's won the 3 cups, is he willing to move to a spot that is, I think you could say, different than Chicago? We're not talking. We all love Calgary. I'd take a bullet for this city, but it's not Chicago. It's not 8 million people. So I don't know. And from a hockey standpoint, I mean, yeah, that'd be a great fit. I just have no. But if you want to, Taves was brought up. If you're talking about a guy in Chicago, I'm all about Patrick Kane if that ever becomes a possibility. Now, something like that would have to be. It's so pie in the sky. Patrick Kane and the Flames. I'm not suggesting that anything is going to happen. I'm just saying if Patrick Kane does indeed start getting shopped, and the Flames are where we think they are at the trade deadline, and it would sure as hell have to be at the trade deadline to make the salary work, I just think it'd be a fun conversation. And from a hockey standpoint, I think it'd be a really, really good fit. Zach makes a really good point, though. Do they need to acquire anyone? And Zach, my answer to that question right now is no. I don't think they do. Because I think right now the Flames have got a very balanced, deep lineup that is getting contributions from everyone from the goaltender out. Like, I don't see the need on October 19th to go out and start shopping for a player and say, we need to shake this team up. The blue line is deep, and the blue line is getting the job done. Hanifin Anderson has been great. Uyghur Tanev coming along. And Zadorov Stone has been a nice third pairing for the team. So I don't think that you're eager to move out any defensemen as it stands right now because the D's playing so well, and we don't know when Oliver Shillington's going to be back with the team. And then on top of that, I mean, it's not like they're suffering when it comes to the forward ranks. It's not like we're talking about this team having trouble scoring. They've played 3 games and they've scored 12 goals. So they're getting the job done offensively. They're getting it from all over the place. Finally, on Tuesday night, a couple players scored their second goals of the season. Actually, all 3 of the guys who scored on Tuesday night scored for the second time this season, Toffoli, Lindholm, and Backlund. But, before that, it was 9 different goal scorers. So, I don't think that they urgently need to be going to get anybody. And to your point, Zach, I'm with you 100%. Corey suggesting the Flames should go after Pasternak, suggesting Lucic and Hanifin would get it done. I don't think that's going to get it done. Everything, talking to Frank Saravalli a few weeks ago on Flames Talk and just reading around, there still seems to be fairly decent confidence that Pasternak and the Bruins are going to re-up and figure something out. And if Pasternak ends up being on the block by some crazy circumstance, that is going to be an absolute King's ransom paid to bring him in if he were to end up being traded. I still think he's going to re-sign in Boston, though. But if it were to happen, I think that the asking price would be a little bit higher than that. And Corey, I love the big thinking. I love the idea. I just think that's going to be a significant package that would get that done if it ever were to even become a possibility, which I personally don't know if I really see that. It would be a great story for the league, though, if that were to happen. This from Zach. Big Z had a better night last night, was involved in the rush a lot, created some fast break chances. I've quite liked Zadorov early on. He's been just nice and solid and pretty reliable. Took the one bad penalty on Tuesday night where it was very clearly a hook. He kind of got spun around and brought down his guy. At that point, it was still 2-2 in the third period, so was a potentially big spot in the game, but the Flames killed that penalty off, and their penalty kill was really strong on Tuesday, too, as the game went along. But I've liked Zadorov, and Zadorov had a great training camp, had a great preseason, had a great playoffs last year, had a great second half of the season last year, and seems to just be building on that. And I think he's starting to really win over a lot of Flames fans. The more people watch Zadorov play, the more that it's like, hey, you know what? There's a lot there. The guy's got all the tools. When you're talking about that skating ability with that frame, like the tools are there without question. And he's even got, some offensive confidence. Sometimes it doesn't work, but he's less and less afraid to try things offensively. I like Zadorov. I honestly think he's actually done a great job in the penalty kill. He's kind of replaced Eric Goodbranson as the first one over the boards. Last year it was Goodbranson and Tanev as the primary or the first penalty killing duo on defense. This year it's Tanev and Zadorov, so he's really leaned into that responsibility and I think has done well. So I've quite liked Sidorov's game overall, and I thought, yeah, he had a noticeable game on Tuesday against the Vegas Golden Knights. Okay, next up for the Flames is Thursday against the Buffalo Sabres. That is an 8:30 face-off, 7:30 face-off at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Game 2 of an 8-game homestand. Flames, Sabres. Obviously, Buffalo did the Flames a favor on Tuesday. We'll see if the Flames can pick up a 4th consecutive win against Buffalo. I'm actually quite excited to see the Sabres in person. I can't remember the last time I said that, so I'm really excited to see what Buffalo brings to the table. They're off to a 2-1 start to their campaign. Thank you very much for all your comments on the live chat. Flames Nation Live brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. Go download the app, create the account, and use the promo code FNLive for 25% off your first order and free delivery. We'll do one probably on the weekend, maybe target Sunday for our next Flames Nation Live after a couple more Flames games. Will they be 5-0 when we talk next on Sunday? Who knows? They're playing some pretty good hockey so far this season. Flames Talks on Sportsnet 960 The Fan and wherever you get your podcasts. Would love it if you went and give us a subscribe there. And thank you very much for being along with us on Flames Nation Live. Lots of stuff happening over at flamesnation.ca with everybody kicking content in around the clock. So enjoy Thursday's game. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Stay safe. Be kind to one another. And thanks so much for joining us. My name is Pat. It's been another Flames Nation Live brought to you by DoorDash. Be well.